Welcome to Your Fit Story TV, the only platform that is focused on storytelling and personal branding for fit pros. Our mission is to provide fitness professionals that are trying to build and scale their business with valuable insights into how others have done it by sharing their fit story.
Boom! And today, Will, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on, boys. I really appreciate it. This is going to be something special for sure.
Mate, absolute honor. It's an honor. So you're the founder of the New Age Coach, right? And you're consistently helping fit pros to hit 10K months consistent. So, dude, we would love to, like, that doesn't just happen. You don't just wake up one day and you got this, you're killing it in this manner. It takes a certain story to even eventually get to that point, man. And today, that's what we want to talk about. We want to dive into your story, bro, into your fit story, and really give the listeners and the viewers some real deep insights into how you've done it. Because what your story does is it actually gives the connective tissue for the other fit pros that are in the process of building their business. It gives them the connective tissue to follow to get the same results, right? To get their business moving, to get it to 10K months. You know the formula and it's in your story. So today, dude, we're going to dive right into that.
I love it. Sounds good. You want me to just start riffing off?
Well, here's what we'll do, right? We would absolutely love to dive into some backstory. Now, the reason is that I think that so many people devalue their story, and we hear it all the time. Like, people just seem to devalue their story and their journey. But here's why you shouldn't be doing that, right? Your backstory is going to be hugely relevant to so many people out there, and I think that when you share some of that information, like telling people exactly kind of what your life was like prior to fitness, before you even was introduced to fitness, like that portion of your life, those chapters is exactly where we'd love to start. So just kind of from your earliest memory, right up until the point where you kind of got into fitness, all of that previous stuff, we'd love to dive into that, dude.
I love that. That sounds good. I'll take you on quite the journey here. Honestly, boys, I mean, like just starting out, taking you back to like the early days when I was a kid. One of the biggest things that my parents instilled in me, and I'll kind of get to a different story here in a second that has to do with that, but was just extreme values where you're just valuing human connection, you're valuing human authenticity. Like that was always like the biggest thing that my parents would always commonly harp on, like every single day. They were always like teaching me something new, kind of within that way to live a good life. And it was just it was something that really helped give me a good foundation for everything else that I was going to build on it. Like if it was fitness, if it was my business, if it was schooling, like whatever it may be. That was something I was always so thankful for, and I just appreciate it so much. And I always talk about them all the time in interviews like this, and when we have family dinners and things like that. I love it so much. And growing up, like kind of in the early days, that was always like kind of my thing, right? Like everyone always looked at me like as the nice guy. Everyone always looked at me as like, oh, he's a solid dude. Like you know what you're getting with him and things like that, which was great. And then couple years down the road, I grow up probably around, I think I was around 12, maybe 13. My parents go through a bit of an ugly divorce, which was so shocking for me because, like I just said, it was almost like the perfect family. It was almost like everything was kind of set up in a way where I didn't really think there was any adversity coming. Didn't really think there was anything that was adverse or negative coming. And then it was a big shock to my sister and I. It was a huge shock at that time, and it changed a lot of things. It changed a lot of things in terms of how I see the world, in terms of what my goals were at that point in time, how I saw myself, how I saw other people. And it's almost like losing your innocence in a way, to just kind of see the world as it is and see kind of how you fit in it. And that was like one of the biggest moments, like kind of growing up, where things started to really change in a good and a bad way. I mean, in a sense where you start to really understand what people's motivations are. You start to really understand how the world is run also, because you kind of have this preconception as a kid, like it's all rainbows and good times, but then you start to understand how things really are. And it really gives you a good basis off of to develop your own path, which was something, and this is kind of where the story takes a bit of a turn, which was something where I was always conditioned to do what my parents said or do what I thought they wanted me to do. And it was kind of at that point where I started to understand, wait a minute, like there are no real guarantees in this life. There's no real like one clear cut path in this life. What exactly do I want? Like, what exactly do I want to go after? And I was kind of like being groomed to do this certain thing. And to be honest with you guys, I actually continue to walk that path, even though I had like these separate motivations to do something differently. I finished high school, like got good grades, went to university for a very specific degree, environmental business, and really enjoyed it. Like, don't get me wrong, but it was something that, again, I thought my parents wanted me to do. It was something I thought like the society, my upbringing at that time wanted me to do, kind of like what that path was for me. And I had different motivations in the back of my head. I had different thoughts that I wanted to go after. And it took me some time, some real self-discovery to really find my own path and to really go after what I really wanted. And then that's when I fell in love with fitness. That's when I really started to develop my journey there. So that's kind of like the tipping point, the pivotal moment for me, for sure.
Cool, man. So was you like because it's a great question to ask. Was you extrinsically motivated to step into fitness or extrinsically motivated to step into it? Like, what was the actual specific catalyst for you that you decided like, oh, cool, I'm going to get into fitness now?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. Both. Honestly, man, I would say both. I mean, in high school is when it kind of really started for me. And it was a little bit of both, intrinsically and extrinsically, in terms of like, honestly, just like everyone says, trying to attract girls, trying to increase.
Yeah. Dude, we hear that on almost every episode. Like, everyone's like, I just want fucking abs, man.
It's so true. But like, why is that? Like, going back to my earlier point, like we all have the same motivations as humans, right? Like, we either want to survive or we want to reproduce. And like, and everything is designed like back to those intrinsic like human decisions, which is so funny, and I'll get into that later. But yeah, that was kind of how it started. But to be honest with you, like after a while, after like I understood like what you can do, like the power, what you can do with your own body, how you can kind of find that breaking point and then go past it, and then start to like understand what you can really do, what you're really made of, kind of what that new limit for yourself could be if you want to go past that. That was something that got addicting to me. Like I loved that feeling. I searched for that feeling, not just in fitness, but in other things that I did as well. So it kind of started at the end of high school there. And then going into university, that's when things really started to really take off. I got certified as a trainer, was a trainer at my school. I was training like the varsity athletes and football players and hockey players and things like that, which was a ton of fun for me. I absolutely loved it. But that's kind of when I really sunk my teeth into health and fitness and really started from there.
Got you, man. Amazing. So I'm actually interested to know, like going back just slightly, because I know you're huge on human connection, and it's one of the things you lead with as well with the New Age Coach. It's just come to me now, but and don't feel like you have to answer the question, or if this has never been asked to you before, maybe, I don't know, but I might be digging a little deep here. But I'm kind of making some sort of correlation between this connective thing that you have with people. Like, you want this connection, right? And you talk about it all the time about how to really bring fitness trainers, online coaches to their ideal client and kind of create this really tight connection. Do you think that is in any way, shape or form connected to the fact that when you were younger with your mum and dad and the divorce happened, you saw a break of connection there, a disconnect, and maybe that's played on to why you're so passionate today about trying to really pull that back for other people?
Man, that is a deep question, and I love it. I love
Mate,
it.
it just popped up. I thought, damn, because I wanted to connect the dots, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's actually funny. That is something I've thought about here and there, kind of connecting the dots looking back. But absolutely, I think so, man. And I think it's so important because, like, just going back to our motivations as humans, like we need a tribe. Like we need some sort of a group of people that is going to help us evolve, help us get to where we want to go. And if people are continually coming in and out of your life. So like, don't get me wrong, that will happen with your evolution, but like, you also need that rock. You also need like that sustainable presence that is with you every step of the way and guiding you throughout your journey. And that's why, I feel so strongly about that, and so strongly about human connection and the importance of it, because it's not something that is just like this and then it's gone, or it's just like a quick payday because you bought a course or you're doing a group coaching program and then it's gone. Like it's something that is very meaningful to me. So man, yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that statement for sure.
Dude,
very quickly.
Go on, Perry.
I was going to say very quickly there. It's like, I love that you asked that, Matt, because I went through something. I was at a young age where my mum left, and it was just me and my dad. And I only used to see my mum once a year for 3, 4, maybe 5 years.
Yeah.
So me even connect, because I'm really strong on connecting, bonding people heart to heart, really sort of, you know, connect together, because that's what it's all about. Because humans, you know, we're made to love, we're not made to fight. And I believe that, if looking back, when all I wanted was to have that connection with my mum, and I didn't have it, and I was, even though I wanted it really badly, I wasn't granted it. I think it makes sense as to why now I try to seek it at every opportunity. So yeah, man, that was quite cool. I like that.
Yeah, and you know what? I think it probably played a part in all of our lives, to be really honest with you, and the fact that we do what we do today in the way that we do it. You know, because some people are really connected to making money. That's their main motivation, and that's what they want to feel connected to all the time. Some people are connected to negative things like drugs or alcohol, drinks, or whatever it is. And I think that this actually just serves a really good fucking point, I guess, in this episode, is that I think there's a lot of fit pros out there as well that are searching for this connection. You know, and they jump from one thing to the next, because they're like you said, Will, it's like people jump from connection to connection, but you've got to have that core. You've got to have that one that's just with you all the fucking time. And for me, it was the grounding of introducing fitness into my life that gave me that connection. And I think ever since that day where I decided to step into fitness, probably equally like yourself, that's given me the connection to continue to do what I do today. So yeah, deep already, man. We're only like 15 minutes in, guys. We got some deep talk. So yeah, man, totally.
Good
100%. So go on, Perry. I heard you just go in there.
Yeah, I was going to say, so you was at uni, because that was actually where a big chunk of my love for fitness came into play, because we had a gym on campus, right? Because the uni that I went to was a very stereotypical American style college, right? So we had a gym on campus, and I always just lived in it, and I absolutely lived in it all the time. That's where I fell in love with it. But did you say earlier on that that's when you started to become a qualified PT? So what I'm very interested to know is what made you pivot and transition to be an actual PT whilst at uni or college?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. And just going back to like the earlier point inside of my story, just really having that different motivation, that different path in the back of my head, even though I was being groomed to do this like one particular thing, this corporate kind of lifestyle, I had this different motivation, like this different thing that I wanted to go after. So essentially, like that's almost me subconsciously going after it kind of behind the scenes. So I got certified as a trainer. I got a job right away, training like varsity athletes at the university there, and just absolutely fell in love with it. Like that was my favorite thing to do all day, every day. Like class was like secondary compared to like working with people one-on-one inside of the gym, helping them get to where they want to go, helping them increase their performance on the ice, on the field, whatever it may be. And it was just so addicting to me to get that feeling and help someone else get that feeling as well. And absolutely fell in love with it. So that's kind of when entrepreneurial thoughts started, and started to realize, shit, man, like this is what I love to do. Why am I spending 5 years of my life being groomed to do this one particular thing just because it's what I thought my parents wanted me to do, just because it's what my guidance counselors in high school told me to do? Like, don't get me wrong, it wasn't a bad gig, wasn't a bad path, but it just wasn't for me. And for me to spend, honestly, your good part of your life going after this thing that you don't really want, you're just kind of I don't want to say pushed, but guided towards it just because you don't know better, wasn't really something I was down for. So it was kind of at that point in my life in uni when I started to make that transition and start to see what was possible.
Because you see, I say this thing sometimes where I'm like, okay, when you find that thing that you really are passionate about, like you found fitness and it was a thing that you were passionate about, you were then passionate about helping others achieve great results. And I always say this, when you find that thing that is just, I got it, this is what I'm supposed to be doing now. You could trade any amount of money for that, right? That feeling of having that. So what advice would you give to a fit pro who is, you know, he knows that he wants to follow, or she knows that they want to follow this path and become a fitness professional, help people create impact in the world, but they are being guided by something else, whether that's parents or a career counselor, whatever it is, like whatever, or influenced by society. What advice would you give to that person listening today?
Yeah, that's an amazing question. One of the biggest things I would say is like really do some deep work and understand like kind of what your path is going to look like. Like try and think of yourself 3 years down the road, just 1 year down the road, and picture yourself currently what you're doing and ask yourself if you're happy. Like ask yourself if you're actually doing what you want to do, because so often, and I have friends like that, and I'm sure you guys too, so often like you'll follow this path and you have this thing in the back of your mind that you want to go after, and you just don't do it because you don't think it's sustainable for you, or you fear ridicule or what other people would think, what other people would say, and you don't really go after it, and you say, oh, maybe I'll do it next year, maybe I'll do it the year after. And then 1 year goes by, 2 years go by, 5 years go by, 10 years go by, and now you really can't do that thing because you've got a house, you've got kids, you've got all of this other shit on, and now it's like way more risky than it was before. So I would do some forward thinking. That would be kind of my main advice right now. Like, is your current path something you're passionate about? Is your current path something that you see yourself doing 2 years down the road, 5 years down the road? And if it's not, I would seriously start thinking of an exit plan. Start thinking of how you can make this other thing that you're probably thinking about work, and have that forward thinking to kind of start putting those plans in motion now.
Mate, great fucking response, you know, because I think that the thinking part does come into it. You got to think and visualize whether or not you're going to be in the place you're in now is where you want to be in the future. But at the same time, people that are listening to this, there's a limit to how much you can just think. All right. Sometimes the thinking is the reason why you aren't making the fucking decision. Right. And time, we've got to lay this out. Time is the most precious commodity on the face of the fucking planet. It's not promised. It's not ours. You know, when people say it's a waste of my time. Oh, it's my time. They're draining my time. It's not your time. It's just time, and it's just here, and it's finite. And tomorrow it might not fucking be there. So if you are passionate about something today and you're ready to make a change today, you need to stop thinking and do. So take action. So my question to you is, that transition for you where you were, okay, cool, this is what I want to do. Like, I'm set on doing this. It's going back slightly, but when you were at that point where you were like, this is now what I want to do, what I want to follow, what led you to, what made you just do it? Because there's also a lot of other things, like you said, like you had other people's opinions and this path that was already kind of predefined. So what was the reason why you just fucking went at it?
Yeah, honestly, man, it's even hard for me to say, because I look at like some of my buddies and some of my peers at that point in time too, who had similar motivations, who had similar aspirations, and they just straight up didn't, because they felt like they invested all of this time into this other thing, just like you're saying. And they would think, oh, it's a waste of time for me to do this other thing because I've already committed to this, or I'm already so deep into this thing. And for me to completely switch gears and I'll almost say no and say kind of I'll get back to it later. 5 years of my life that I was building myself to work this particular job and go this particular path. I said no to it and started going this completely other path. I won't lie to you, a lot, like even my best friends, like even some of my close friends were like, dude, what are you doing? Like you went to school for 5 years to do this thing and like got co-op jobs and things like that, where you kind of like work in placements and get some experience. And now you're just doing this completely other thing. Like you're kind of crazy. Like, what are you doing? And honestly, man, this was around like 2014, 2015. So this is like the infancy stages of like so social media marketing, like online entrepreneurship, things like that, where things were like just about to blow up. And I kind of got a taste of what was possible. I kind of got a taste of how you can create a message, you can craft a movement and reach more people, not just in your local area, but surrounding areas, globally even. But that was a little bit too forward thinking for me at the time. But I started to kind of get a taste of what was possible and understand like the trend and the way things were moving. So that was one of the biggest motivations for me to say, you know what, like if there's a time in my life for me to take a plunge, for me to kind of take this shift, it's now. And like, I have to do this now. And I kind of had to talk myself into it, but I eventually made the shift and never looked back. So,
it's amazing.
That's kind of, yeah,
it's amazing. It's an amazing fucking journey, dude, just up to now. And I think there's a lot of fit pros out there that are kind of in this place. And I know, because we speak to them all the time, and they've got something else going on, right? They've got like, they're trying to grow their business, and we know it ain't easy. Like there's a lot of people that say it's easy to grow an online business. It's not fucking easy. It's work, just like anything else, just like building an offline business. Imagine how hard it would be to like create a gym, for example, a facility. You'd have 100K in investment straight up. You'd have running costs, staffing costs. You'd have constant fucking questions coming in. You'd like, it's work. People think that transitioning online and doing it online is somehow different, that it's easier. And that's one of the reasons why, like, initially they go in with it, but then when they realize there's some work to be done, like I've actually got to do stuff here and make this happen, they're always jumping between something that they're doing that's making them some money, that is safe, that is comfortable, that is getting them the results they need in their bank, but they're still not following that path, that passion. So based on your story, what's the advice you give to those people, man?
Nah, I can talk about this all day. All
fucking
day.
A. Let's get it.
Okay, like building a business, I don't care if it's online, I don't care if it's starting a gym, whatever you said, it is the hardest thing you'll probably ever do in your life. At least one of the hardest things that you'll ever do. And we are in such an age, oh my gosh, like I can talk about this all day. We are in such an age where it just is, everyone's projecting that it's just so easy. You can live on the beach and look at your laptop all day and just like watch the money roll in and buy a Lambo and do all of these things without putting in any work. But like, tell me anything in life that you can get without putting in some effort, like without putting in some amount of work that's worth it. Like there's honestly nothing. And the way, and it's almost not even people's fault to think this way, because it's kind of what's being advertised. It's kind of the preconceived notion that's out there right now. So it's hard for me to blame certain people of why they think that way, because it's kind of the status quo right now. It is being changed. I think we're kind of in the early stages of that being changed, which is good. But man, oh man, is it ever a false way to think that creating an online business is easy? Creating an online business is something that just happens overnight. Like, boom, I created an Instagram account. Now I'm making 10K a month. Like, some people legitimately think that, and it's so false. And that's why I'm so clear in my messaging, like with the New Age Coach too. And like, I know you guys are too, which I love, really helping people understand, like, okay, if this is truly something you want to do, like it's going to require sacrifice. It's going to require you to become something that you're not right now. And really understanding that cost is very, very important, because there is a cost. There is a cost to anything that you do, especially entrepreneurship. I tell people this all the time. Entrepreneurship is, in my opinion, the single most beneficial personal development journey that you can go on, because it's going to require so much of you, because you are going to go through so much resistance that it is going to show you what you're made of. It's going to show you how you act in the face of resistance. It's going to show you how you deal with problems. And that's, as you guys know, that's what being an entrepreneur is all about. It's just dealing with problems. It's just understanding how to like go around different barriers and find different ways to do things. And for the market to portray online entrepreneurship like it's easy, like it just It's almost like a slap in the face for people like us who've been working so hard and like dedicated a portion of our lives to building up what our vision is. And man, with New Age Coach, and like same with you guys with this Fit Story and everything else you guys got going on, I love that the messaging is starting to change for the better, and people are starting to understand, you know what, holy shit, like this actually does take some work. And I mean, like people are figuring that out now too, because like I'm sure you guys work with clients who have worked with like other coaches in the past or done other things in the past, courses, whatever it may be. And you know what? They didn't see the results that they wanted to see. Why is that? Was it because the past coach they had was shitty? I don't know. Maybe not. But that's not really the issue. The issue is the journey that you're getting into is hard. And you need to build yourself up like this, instead of like just getting there. And people think that's what happens. Like you just get there, you hire the coach, you're there, you buy the course, you're going to make $10 a month. But you got to build yourself up.
Dude, so sick, man. Perry says this thing, and he's gonna like be pissed off now because I'm stealing his little quote. But he says this thing about how, you know, like the easiest part of investing in a coach is handing the money over, regardless of how much it costs.
Yeah.
If it's a 2K program, a 5K program, a 10K program, like it doesn't, that's the easiest part. And people think in their minds, because I've had this with clients, believe it or not.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, I've paid you the money.
I'm done.
Where's the result? Yeah. And then when you're like, no, dude, there's just like I said at the beginning of this, before you paid me the money, there's work that needs to be done. They're like, but wait, I've given you the money though. Like, why is the thing yet? I want the thing, you know, what everyone else has, the successful thing. It's like, dude, no, that's not how it works. So, and you know what? I think that's like, even I've done that to a degree, not in business, but maybe once or twice in the past, but even I've done that before with other things, you know, like when people pay for a gym membership, you pay for a gym membership, you expect that the result, just because you go every day, doesn't mean you're going to get a fucking great body, does it? Just because you've paid the money and you turn up does not mean you're going to get you need to work hard. So one of the things, I'm just skipping this back now because something you said earlier just jumped out at me, man. Yeah. And you said when you were in left high school and you were now coaching, right, in uni, you had the passion to actually train people and be a good coach. But you also said that you started to see the entrepreneurial thing and started to see that, oh, this online stuff is now starting to grow, which tells me that you have a business mindset as well. Like your mindset was built for business as well as just being a great coach. Now, here's the thing. A lot of fit pros think that being a good coach is enough. They think that being a great coach is enough, that's what I need to do. If I just show up and be a great fucking coach, then that's enough. And they devalue the business side of it. So the tactics, the strategies, the systems, they don't think so much about that, or that is so important because they're showing up, they're getting client results. Now, here's the thing. Yes and no. If you're a great coach, you've got a good delivery, you're getting kick-ass results, that will carry you some of the way, right? And I know that, right? I've got some kick-ass results for clients, and I've worked with clients that have some sick fucking results. So my question is, for you going through that process of really understanding how important business was, would you say to someone who's now in that process of like, I'm a great coach, this is all I need to be, it's just a good coach, what would you say to those people, man?
Yeah, that's an amazing question. I had similar thoughts too when I was first starting out. When I kind of started to transition online and just started a website, started my social profiles, I thought that was it. Like, I'm good. Like, my online business is good. I'm basically good to go. I'm just going to get clients now. This is like early 2015, 2016. And that is so not how it happens at all. And you're so right, Matt. I mean, just like I was saying, you need to build yourself up brick by brick by brick. Like, if you're a good coach, and I'm assuming if you're in business as an online coach, you kind of have to be a good coach. That's the foundation. Okay, that's the foundation. You're right. You need to build on top of that foundation with business principles. Like, understand really what like direction you want your business to go in, what kind of message, what kind of movement is that you want to go. Like, really have that foundational principles first, and then, just like you're saying, build the systems, build the tactics and the strategies on top of that as well. Understand how to communicate, understand how to get the attention of your ideal types of clients. And I can talk about this all day, but just really fundamentally understanding, like, when you're first starting out as an online coach, no matter how many followers or whatever it is that you have, you know nothing. Honestly, you don't know anything. And that's one of the biggest pieces of advice that I would give someone who's just starting out, because that's the advice I wish I got. Like I started the website, I started the social profiles, and like people would be like, yo, dope website, man, that's so great. I'm like, yeah, like I'm an entrepreneur. Things are good. I was making no money. I was getting no clients. It took me taking the time and like investing in courses and coaches and books and learning how to market, how to make good programs, how to get people amazing results, how to get referrals, how to like do all of these different required business steps to actually get to where I wanted to go. And to be honest, just like you guys know, it's never done. It's never done. You're always in that pursuit. You're always in that journey of continual improvement. And it's something that most coaches need to understand, and I wish they would understand before they even get into this whole thing.
And it's just a killer mentality, man, to approach it, the whole thing like that, because the only thing, I love what you said, the only thing you do know is that you know nothing. That's it.
Yeah.
If you go into everything with that mentality, like, okay, no matter what you do know, go into it with the mentality of you know nothing about that, you know, and that's how you're going to consistently just develop. And I actually wrote a piece of content about this inside our Fit Story community the other day about copy, right? And becoming a master storyteller with your content. And I was saying that if you're an online coach and if you're not looking at your business, emotions taken out, yeah? So you've got to remove all the emotions and look at things logically, look at your business and go, okay, cool. I've got marketing, I've got sales, I've got delivery, I've got lead, like looking at all these different parts of your business. If you're not able to do that logically and then look at where improvements need to be made, your business will fail long term, because you have to remove the emotions from it, because otherwise you just attach too much and you think your business is kick ass and you think you're doing everything right. I did it. Fuck, man. I had everything into Be Supreme back in the day when I had my clothing and this lifestyle clothing brand with sold supplements. And I was just like, yeah, my whole heart and soul and everything is into it. And that's the problem. All of my emotions were wrapped up into it. When it came to someone else, a business mentor, who was a friend of mine at the time, and he was giving me critical feedback about that business. Critical. I had to remove all of the emotion to see what he was saying that made sense. And when I started to do that and I started to look at my business from 10,000 fucking feet, looking at it logically instead of emotions involved, that's when shit started to change. 100%. So I think it serves for such a great portion of this episode, man, just talking about this stuff.
Yeah, man, I agree.
Yeah, so dude, let's pull it back to your story a little bit, right? Because what I'm interested to know is, at this point where you're in uni, you're killing it with some clients, did you say you made the transition to go online at that point already?
Yeah, I did. I wasn't full-time online though, just because I had no idea what the fuck I was doing.
Well, I read on one of your posts before something about the ebook, mate. I'd love it if you could dive into this now. So can you just for this interview, can you just dive into what happened with the ebook and the ebook mentality, please?
Oh, for sure. And this was going back to like 2016 when that was like the only business model that was online at all. Like online coaching wasn't even really a thing back then. It's kind of funny, but yeah, I was looking at like some of the top dogs in the industry, like Killa Itsteins, like Steve Cook, and seeing like how much money they were making by selling like their $30 ebook or their $70 ebook or whatever it may be at scale, at mass. And I was like, okay, this is an amazing business model. Like I'm just going to create this product, which is going to be awesome. I'm going to sell it to like thousands of people, and I'm just going to like be set. And then I'm just going to do this like a few times a year, and I'm going to make all this money, and they're going to see amazing results, and I'm going to build my brand from there. And that was kind of my thinking. That was kind of like my first big launch, if you will. And like, no joke, like going back to what I said in that post, like I went all in on it. Like I rented like a cottage, like a cabin in the woods to separate myself and build this amazing ebook for like 2 days straight, like secluded myself totally. And I was like, oh my God, this is like next level. Like, this is amazing. I'm going to launch it to all 1,000 of the followers that I had on Instagram. I mean, and I'm sure 500 of them will buy, or at least 400 will buy. And that was kind of my thinking. Oh my God, I knew nothing. and like, I even like hired like someone on Fiverr and like some graphic designers to make it look all pretty, and it was going to be amazing. And then I like launched it, and my mom bought it, and that was it. That was it. That was it. That was it. Oh my God, it was such a fail. But oh my God, it's still funny. I still have it today.
Wow. I'd say that was a win. Like, at least your mum bought it. Like, most my mum would have been like, I ain't fucking paying for that.
Yeah, I know. Seriously, right? Yeah. Oh my God.
What an incredible story. Wow. Yeah. I love that. I absolutely love that, mate. Oh, that's incredible. I saw your Instagram post about that some time back, and I just wanted to bring that up. So, like, you've obviously had your a couple failed launches, and you've obviously had some super successful ones, but just bringing it back to like this moment where you're online, you're starting to crush it in business, right? Things are starting to go a bit better. So you start to transition fully online at what point? Like, when do you decide that you're done with the in-person stuff? Because this is actually going to apply to a lot of fit pros now that may be stuck in the time for money trap, like stuck there trading time for $20, $30, whatever it is. So what point did you decide, like, I'm going all in on the online stuff? I'm ready.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's an amazing question. So at this point in time, I actually got a job, like the classic 9-to-5 cubicle job. That was a 6-month contract position. So it wasn't like a full-time forever gig. It was just 6-month contract position. And it was kind of a good like stopgap for me in between where I currently was and what I wanted to do. So I moved to Ottawa, the capital of Canada here, and I worked that job for 6 months. And then it came up for renewal at the end. So I could either like stay full-time kind of for the rest of my life, or I could transition out. And I decided to transition out. And the reason was because everyone who I was working around, like inside of the office environment, they were all the classic, like busy corporate professionals, middle-aged, like 30 to 40 to 50 years old, who were just sitting at their desk all day, wanted to achieve some sort of health and fitness results specific to them, but they just weren't doing anything, or they just didn't understand what worked for them. So I actually got, I would say like maybe 4 or 5 clients just from people around the office. And I knew this before I quit my job, because I knew I wanted to go full-time online. So I kind of like walked around my floor and started gaining some interest, started getting some clients that way, and say, I'm leaving in April. It was April 2015. I said I was leaving in April, but we'll stay in contact like online. We'll make sure that we get you good results, and I'll be there for you. And it was really hard to explain, because people had no idea what online coaching was at this point. Still hard to explain to some people. But I think I got like 4 or 5 clients at that point in time. And that was when I was like, okay, there's some potential here. Like, don't get me wrong. I think I was charging like, I don't know, $100 or something a month, like nothing really. I was like, okay, well, there's some potential here. Let's see if I can make this work. And there was no sustainability. It's not like I had a ton of savings built up or anything like that, but this was my opportunity. Like, contract job ended. This is what I wanted to do. And like I said before, like, if I'm going to do this, now's the time in my life. So I decided to transition online. And don't get me wrong, it took some months. It probably took like a full year to really understand how this thing worked, to really understand how to kind of get this to the point where I wasn't like successful, but just get it to the point where I'm like, okay, things are okay. like things are okay. Like, I'm okay here. I replaced my income. And then I started to understand what it took to kind of get to the next level. But that was kind of that transition point for me, for sure.
So go on, Perry. My bad,
I was going to say, within the that 6 to 12 month period where you was really sort of building up the online space, was there ever a moment or ever a day that came where you were like, you know, maybe there was an element of your back was against the wall, or things wasn't going your way when you dived into that online world? Maybe something hit you by surprise or something like that.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. so I knew kind of like my end date was coming for that job. I knew this was kind of like the time where I wanted to transition full time into it. But like I still had student debt to pay off. Like I still had like credit cards to pay off. Like I wasn't really in a good spot financially to logically make that decision. And to be honest, probably most people who had that same situation that I was in, most people probably wouldn't have made it because it was risky. Like I won't lie, it was risky. But I knew, like, I don't know why, but I knew like, I'm going to make this work. Like I'm going to figure this out. And if I don't do this now, then I'm just going to get comfortable in this life and I'm never going to make this shift. So it was definitely a little bit of a do or die situation. You figure this the fuck out or else like things aren't going to go so well. And I just honestly, man, like I still remember that point in time, as I'm sure you guys do too, when you first started your businesses, like the late nights, reading the books, watching the videos, like trying to figure out how to make this work, how to get this thing off the ground, because not because you want to, but because you fucking have to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a difference there, right?
There's a huge difference. There's a huge difference, man. That's what's the difference between like actually reading that extra chapter or actually like reaching out to those 5 extra leads or whatever it may be. There's an urgency factor there. There's a desire factor there that's not there when you're comfortable. That's not there when you have like all of the savings in the bank and you're just interested in creating an online business. You're just interested in kind of doing this thing and see what happens. Like honestly, like kind of looking back, I almost, and even with me looking for clients now and getting clients with the New Age Coach, you almost want someone who has their back up against the wall, because you know they're going to go all in. You know, like that this is plan A, there is no plan B. Like I just love that mentality.
Zero option mentality, just ready to get it on that fucking shit. And that's actually really relatable to some of my stories. So when I first kind of came online as an online coach, I was in the same position, no savings, no nothing, not a thing. I'd left a career prior to that in direct sales where I was easily going to write 7 figures for the company that year if I'd stayed, which would have put me on a 6-figure income, like easy. And I looked at it, and that's the most amount of money I'd ever had in my life coming from poverty, right? So like my idea of poverty, of what I was brought up like and how things were. So like that was a huge thing for me to step away from something that was like consistent, good, solid, high amounts of money to just like, I'm going to leave that because I want to do this and just see what happens. So for me, it was the same thing, zero option mentality. Like I had no choice but to make it work. And I experienced some of these like months where you kind of were getting your handle on stuff. You had things going on. You were like, yes, it's starting to work. And then some months were just rock bottom. Like I remember at one point, I wrote about this the other day on my status. You know how emasculating it is to have your fucking mum buy you a weekly shop because you are so financially fucked? I could tell you because it happened to me. Like I didn't tell anyone in my family that I was in a really bad place financially because I was really struggling with my business. I kept that shut. I slept in my car, right? There was times when I literally would have to sofa surf because I didn't really have anywhere proper to stay. And I did not want to mention it to anyone because I felt like it would just pull my ego away and I just looked like a dick. Because I feel like everyone around me in my life up until like recently, the last couple of years, has always doubted what I've been doing. Like, you're not going to make it work. You are a failure. You're never going to be successful. So I didn't want to just put my hands up and say to people that I'd done that. And that's what happened to me. Like my mum had to buy me a shop, like had to buy me food because it was so bad. So in that time period, like, can you remember a really specific rock bottom moment, man, where you were just like, this is it. This is the point of no return now. I'm either just going to level it up now or I need to change something.
Dude, 100%. I'm so glad you brought that up. That opens the door perfectly for this story I'm about to tell. So this was such an embarrassing rock bottom moment. And I will never, ever forget this story. And I will continue to tell it on like all of the interviews to just help people understand, like, we all go through like some sort of rock bottom moment. Like it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how much money you're making right now. We all have that moment. And oh my God, this is so embarrassing. This was probably like, I don't know, maybe 3.5 years ago or so, where I think it was like later 2016. Business was like going okay, but I was having one of those months that you were talking about. One of those months where like nothing was happening. You weren't getting any clients. You were trying different things and nothing was happening. You're drawing everything out of your savings and you basically had nothing. And I remember there was a payment that was supposed to go out of my account. And I thought it was going through like the next day, but it was like a Friday or something like that. So it went through the day before and I was completely dry. And in fact, my account was overdrawn. So I was like, fuck, like I literally have $0 to my name right now, like literally. And it's funny because my girlfriend, we were living together at the time, she invited a friend over and she also invited her little sister over. So we had like a few people over at the house, and it was my job to go out and get pizza for everyone, get pizza and like drinks and stuff like that. And they were watching a movie. This is where the story gets fucking so embarrassing. They were watching a movie that was streamed from my laptop, right? So my laptop was streamed to like the big TV, you know, and they're watching like Netflix or something like that. So it gets time for me to go get the pizza, and I'm like, oh fuck, like I have $0. I don't want to like privately talk to Ash, my girlfriend, because like she has her friends over and all this stuff. So I'm like, holy fuck, I need to go and like figure this out. So like, I get in my car. I know I have nothing. Like I keep checking my banking app, like just thinking magically that money will appear in my account, but it doesn't. I'm like, I keep refreshing, just thinking something will happen. It doesn't. So I get in my car, I drive to the pizza shop, and like, fuck, I know it's like $30 or something like that. I literally don't have it. And I'm like, oh my God, like, what am I going to do? Like, what can I do? Like, I'm looking in my car, looking for like change and things like that. Like nothing, absolutely nothing. So I finally give in. And this was like I had this in the back of my head. It was like the last ditch effort. I'm like, fuck, like I gotta like just text my dad, be like, Dad, can you shoot me like $50 or something like that? So I text my dad. I'm like, hey Dad, like, man, a big payment like just went out of my account. I'm kind of in a tough spot. Can you shoot me like $50? I'll get it back to you like in a couple days or something. And he was like, oh yeah, like sure, no problem. But you know how iMessage connects to your computer sometimes?
Mm-hmm.
Those messages were coming up on the movie that they were watching back.
No.
Yes.
Wow.
So I'm literally begging my dad for $50, and my girlfriend and her friends who were watching the movie, that was coming up on the fucking movie screen because it was attached to my computer. And oh my God, it's the most embarrassing thing ever. And obviously I got the money to get the pizza or whatever, and I got it and I drove back home. And I could just tell because they're all looking at me with like a weird look. And I was like, and then I realized because some other people were texting me too, and it was popping up on the TV screen. And then I realized I was like, fuck, like, no way this happened. So, dude, I could totally relate. Anyway, that's kind of the story. But
thank you so much for sharing that, man.
That's brilliant.
It's both extremely vulnerable to share that as well as being humorous, mate. So thank you so much for sharing that.
We all
yeah, 100%, man. And it serves a really good point again to just talk about this and raise this and highlight this. Now, the difference between, because there's a lot of people that will listen to this now that are in that position. They got their bills going out. They're looking at their account. The fucking money's not getting any higher. And they know they are struggling. They know that they're in a bad spot and they've got payments going out. They've got a client payment coming in soon. You know, it's coming in soon. Yeah. And they're waiting for that client payment, and they're waiting for other client to drop in, or they're waiting for a lead to say yes to a call, or they're doing all this stuff. But what happens is, this is what I believe is the separator. This is what happened to me, right? Is when I was in that space, when I was there and I was experiencing that, and I felt so emasculated and just so embarrassed and just so rock bottom, I just like, this is a fucking joke. Like, what have I done? The thing I didn't do, which a lot of people do, is they focus on the money. So at that point, I was already fucked. I was already skinned. It wasn't worth me focusing more on the skinnedness because it wasn't doing anything. It wasn't going to bring me some money by focusing on the money. So what I did was I was like, right, okay, this is entrepreneur mentality. What can I do today to do something different from yesterday? Because yesterday didn't work. That's why today is in the position I'm in now. So what can I do today that is going to change this fucking story? Because if I don't do something different, I'm going to wake up tomorrow in the same position with no money. And it's usually, I hear this all the time, what you focus on grows, right? So if you put your focus into a problem, the problem will get bigger. If you put your focus into an argument, the argument will get worse. If you put your focus into building the physique of your dreams, you're going to build the physique of your dreams. So if you put your focus into money generating tasks or things that you need to do that are going to move the needle in your business positively, instead of looking at the situation and the money that you don't have and wondering how to get more and all of this stuff, it's going to breed more of that. It's going to basically make the problem worse. So for me, I had to actually, at that point, I had to start looking at alternative methods to change something. So I started to look at different ways to do stuff. So I was like, right, my brain was firing off. I had a piece of paper in front of me and I was like, right, I'm going to write down the 5 things that I haven't done before. Like just 5 things that I have not done in my fitness business so far, whether that's a lead generation thing or whatever it is, just 5 things. Like, what can I put together? How can I make money tomorrow? How can I create impact and change the life of someone by tomorrow? Like, how can I do this? So I wrote out 5 things. I can't remember that list comprehensively, but I know one of them was always what I always stick to, which is make a friend. Because if you make a friend that day, trust me, you're good. You're in a good spot. You make a friend a day, you're in a good place. So one of them was like make a friend. The other one was to create a no-brainer offer. This is what I call a no-brainer offer. Something that is so fucking ridiculous that makes people think like the value in this is just absolutely mind-blowing. And it's only that amount of money. Like that is an absolute no-brainer. I'm bought in. So I remember writing down these 5 things and that really did help. Like nothing happened the following day. I didn't make money the following day. I didn't start making money again for a few days. Like it took time, but I was focusing my energy, time, and focus was all on how can I make this situation better. So not how can I stare at this fact that I've got minus in my account and I'm in my overdraft, because that's not helping. So for you, what did you do to shift that gear? Like you're in that place where you're like, fuck, I've just had to, and now all my friends, my girlfriend's friends know, and they know that this pizza isn't bought out of my change. So now you know all of that stuff. What did you do to start changing things?
Man, I have the exact same story as you just told. Like literally, I got out a piece of paper. Like I firmly remember this. It was the next day. I got out a piece of paper. I literally like drew a line down the middle of it. And I wrote down everything on the left-hand side, what I was currently doing, because clearly that wasn't working. I can't even fucking afford pizza. And on the right-hand side, I wrote down things that I was going to change, things that was different, things that were actually going to get me the result that I wanted to get. And then literally from that list, I took out like my daily planner and then I planned in the things on the right-hand side, just like you said, like generating more leads, having more of a compelling offer, making sure that I'm getting my message in front of the right people at the right time, and really sticking to that over like the next week. And just like you said, yeah, things didn't change for me overnight. Things didn't change for me the next Wednesday or the next Thursday, but over time, things slowly started to kind of get me out of that rut, dig me out of that ditch. And it was so impactful because like, and this is just more grander thinking, but so many coaches work so hard. So many coaches like are legit working like 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day, but they're not really doing the things, just like where I was and you were, they're not really doing the things that are going to move the needle the most inside of their business, depending on where they're currently at. And like now that I can look back on that situation and kind of connect the dots, I mean, it's the exact same thing. And same with your story, Matt. Like it's the exact same thing with lead indicators and lag indicators. Like you're not in control of like the specific sales. You're not in control of the specific outcomes, which are the lag indicators, but you are the lead indicators, like the things that you can do now to produce it, like the leads that you reach out to, the process that you do on a daily basis in order to get that specific outcome. That's within your control. And when you can focus on the right things, the results that you want, they're going to lag, but they're going to come as a result of that. And this is more grander thinking here, but like just going back to our previous conversation as well, most coaches are just so focused on that outcome. They're just so focused on the money. They're so focused on the results that they want that they're losing sight on what's the process to get there. Like what are the things within your control that you can do today in order to get that result? And there's just such a lack of patience. There's just such a wrong placement of focus on the things that aren't really really important in that moment. And just like how we have a similar story there, you have to like place focus on the things that are actually going to dig you out of that rut and are actually going to move the needle within your business the most.
Effort versus efficiency, I guess, isn't it?
100%.
You know, and I think that a lot of people do focus on like, if I work harder and put more effort into this, sometimes you just need to be more efficient. You need to look at what you're doing and is it really working? And if it's not, you need to kind of switch gears up and try and change it, man. I'm glad that you're really diving into some of this stuff, man, because this is just fucking hugely valuable for some people out there. Just absolutely epic, mate.
Yeah,
really
man.
Appreciate it.
I'm with you. I mean, like, I'd rather someone work 1 hour a day on the right thing than 14 hours a day on like the wrong things that aren't going to get you anywhere. Like, I know it's such like a different way to go about it in this like Gary Vee age that we live in, and grinding and things like that, which, don't get me wrong, hard work and work ethic is very important, but it's important on the right things, not the wrong things that are just continually spinning your wheels. So yeah, I can totally resonate.
100%. And what you said as well, just want to put this back out because this is fire, mate. And I want some people to comment on this video when they hear it is fire. Stop focusing on the result and focus on the things that you can do that's going to put the opportunity to get that result in front of you, right? So just focus on the daily things that you need to do that are going to bring the opportunity to get that result, as opposed to focus solely on the result, because we know what can happen there, right?
Yeah. 100%, man. I mean, like, I've honestly, that's been like the main theme of my messaging for like the past month and a half, because like that's one of the biggest things that I see needs to be changed inside of this space right now is just like how we started this whole conversation. People are so focused on the results. People are so focused on like the easy way out and how to finally get to that mountaintop. But like, if you're climbing a mountain, you got to focus on every step of the way instead of just focusing on like actually getting there. And it's the exact same thing with business. It's the exact same thing with fitness. Like, I find it so funny when fit pros have problems inside of their business, because the way to fix it is literally the same advice that they would give their fitness clients is focusing on that process, focusing on that in order to get to where they want to go. It's not an easy way out. It's not a quick tip or a tactic. It's always the fundamental process that you have control over. So I couldn't agree more, man.
Fucking kaboom, bro. Fucking kaboom. So this moment, right, where you have been on the online coaching thing and you've been grafting away, you've been making it happen. You've had some up and down months, but you know, you've got your online business moving. At what point, like, did you decide that you were going to start to help other people build their business? Because we can kind of, I don't want to jump into like the you know, how your online business did at the time, because I think that's less important than the reason why you decided to become a fitness mentor. Like, what was the reason where you were like, okay, I'm going to help others do the same thing? What was the reason for that? Why did you decide to do that?
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up. I never, ever wanted to do it. Like, it was never something that I was growing up and I said, I want to be like a business mentor. I want to help other people grow their business. It was never in my plan. Even when I was a fit pro and I was starting to see like different business coaches come into the industry, I never wanted to do that particular thing. It just got to the point inside of my fitness business where, if we fast forward a year and a half, where things started to get to a good sustainable rate, where things were going pretty well, I started to get a lot of messages from different fit pros who were just starting out, asking questions, asking how I grew my business, how I got to where I was at that point in time. And honestly, I was just giving free advice. I was just helping whenever I could, just kind of here and there, nothing really special about it. And then it kind of got to the point where I was taking clients kind of on the side in addition to my fitness coaching, and I was kind of doing both, like 75% fitness coaching, 25% kind of helping people start their online fitness coaching business. And I was doing that probably for about a year, until it got to the point where I was getting a hell of a lot more demand from people wanting to grow their fitness business. And equally, I was starting to see the trends on how people were going through different courses and people were getting different information, whether it was good or bad, but like, they still didn't know the foundations of what to do. They still didn't really understand how to grow the movement, how to really lay those foundational bricks, those principles to build their business upon. Like everybody was coming from a tactic mindset. Everybody was coming from a quick fix mindset. And that was like a big thing that I saw within the industry, like a year and a half ago, that I wanted to change. Cause I was like, this is not good news for the industry. If everybody who's coming up has this mindset. So that's kind of when I started to shift more towards the Fit Pro biz as well, to really reverse that mentality and teach and instill the fundamental values of what it takes to actually build a sustainable online fitness business. So that's kind of that journey there as well.
Dude, it's so important, man. I mean, I was having a conversation with someone today, actually. Funnily enough, it was today. And he was saying how he was, like not ready to, because he's actually in one of our free challenges called the Your Fit Story Challenge. We kind of help online trainers generate between 1 to 3 clients using storytelling and personal branding. And he messaged me. It's on like day 4, and he's barely done anything. And I messaged him and I said, "Yo, dude, like I've messaged him a handful of times anyway from day 1, but no response." I messaged him and said, "Dude, what's going on, man? Are you getting on? How's the challenge going for you?" He said, "Look, to be honest, I mean, I'm getting my qualification, and I'm focused on sort of becoming qualified right now. Like that's what my focus is on. Now, here's the reason why I bring it up. The qualification doesn't mean you're going to get a successful business. It doesn't mean you're going to even make the money that you need to even live on a base income. Just because you become qualified does not come with any guarantees that your business is going to work. So what will happen is when you apply the whole time, how long does it take to get qualified generally? 3 months, 6 months? So I know you can do it in shorter time than that, but
typically 5 weeks.
Yeah. Okay. But so let's say like anywhere between 6 weeks and a year, right? To get qualified in whatever. Now, you could be applying time and effort and energy into learning marketing, sales, business, understanding that at the same time. And I'm just curious, why do you think people don't do that? Why do you think people they think they have to get the qualification first, do this because this is the first part of the process, right? To get qualified before I can help people. So why do you think people do that and they don't don't see that they should be trying to bring the business skill up at the same time and learn those things that are actually important to grow a business?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. One of the biggest things I see, and this is why people can sometimes get stuck in this certification loop, even if it's not just the first one. Some people are continually getting different ones, is a lack of confidence in themselves and their ability as a coach. And this goes back to a variety of problems like raising your prices and things like that. But a lot of coaches feel like they need this certification or they need these letters under their name or whatever it may be in order to be worthy to get someone a result or be worthy to start putting out their message, to start putting out some marketing material. And that's really not the case. I mean, obviously for legal reasons, you need a base certification for sure. And you should always be continually educating yourself to become a good coach. But you're so right, Matt. I mean, you need to couple that, if not more so, with the fundamental business principle and foundational understanding. Because if you don't have that, it's really hard to, even if you are an amazing coach, it's really hard to attract people into your movement, attract people into your innovative systems or whatever they may be, because you don't understand how to do it, because you don't understand what those processes look like. And man, even like for myself, and I'm sure with you guys, that's one piece of advice that I would have for myself too when first starting out, would just sink your teeth into all of that stuff as early as you can, because it is going to pay extreme dividends as time goes on. Like it's so foundationally important to any journey in the beginning, for sure.
That confidence, mate. This is the reason why I guess we see, you probably had it as well when you've run free challenges and trying to help people out. I guess you've seen the same people come into different challenges month after month after month. They've done a challenge to get 1 to 3 clients, and they're in another challenge to get 5 clients, and they're in it because their confidence internally is just not where it should be, And I think that's so fucking true, man. So glad you brought that up, dude. Big fucking deal.
It's huge. It's huge. And question for you guys, like, for example, someone who has their health and fitness coaching business going, they've had it for a year, they've gone through different coaches, let's say, for example, and they're not where they want to be yet, but they've been through programs, they have like the base understanding of knowledge, they are a good coach. Why don't you think they are where they want to be yet?
Confidence. We say exactly the same. It's exactly the same thing. It's a confidence issue.
Yeah.
So we've worked with tons of clients who, you know, one of the first things that we do inside the academy is we actually work a lot on mindset before anything else, and like really getting people to understand just how important it is to build your confidence internally in yourself and your process. Because if you don't have that confidence, like you said, at the base level, if you're not working on that confidence and laddering your confidence over time, it's going to affect your marketing. It's going to affect your sales. It's going to affect what you think you're worth. It's just going to spread into your business like a cancer, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to fucking kill your business. So it's the exact same thing, man. We see, and what we say to people is, if we had to sum up in one word, what we sell or what we provide as a company, it would be confidence. We help people get confident through the methods that we choose, through the fit story creation and stuff like that. We help people get confident so that they're able to actually step into the world in their personal brand and actually display and amplify their fucking uniqueness, what makes them them. You know, we see it all the time. This challenge we're doing at the moment, the Fit Story Challenge, we've got like 48 people in that challenge, right? This free challenge. And one of the task on day 2, this is funny, right? Every time we run it, we see people drop off on day 2, but we ain't changing the process because we stand by it, right? So we're not going to change the process to suit your comfortability. We just want to try and push you out of your comfort zone to adapt to what you need to be to grow your business, right? So us changing the challenge to something that's easier or more manageable or more comfortable for you is doing you a disservice for taking part in it. So what it is, day 2, we get people to go live and we give them the structure of their fit story. We get them to hashtag my fit story, and they build the initial emotional connection with their audience straight away on day 2 by talking about their fit story. And you know how many people do that and they're nervous as fuck. Yeah, you watch their videos about them training with their biceps and lifting, they've got some confidence there.
Yeah.
But when it comes to them talking about themselves, talking about their story, talking about their journey, mate, there's people, you know, they really can't do it because they're not confident internally. So one of the things we pride ourselves on is being like, yeah, we do put people in uncomfortable positions as mentors, but that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're paying me for, is to put you in an uncomfortable position, right? And it's what your clients are going to fucking pay you for, to put them in uncomfortable positions. If they want a great body, guess what? You're going to have to do some work and it's going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to have to be on lower calories. That shit isn't comfortable sometimes. You're going to have to do more reps in the gym than less. And guess what? That isn't nice either. But this is the thing. You've got to put yourself in those positions. So for us as mentors and for you as a mentor, this is the thing, right? Building confidence means getting out of your way, means putting yourself into uncomfortable positions that you know are fucking building character and just continuing to do what you need to do.
100%.
It means internal validation. That's the thing with these guys who keep them going on a chase and trying to get all these qualifications and going from one course to the next, speaking from one mentor to the next. It's that lack of self-confidence, and they're trying to seek this external validation rather than looking within themselves, building up that confidence so they can validate themselves. And this is the thing, when we get them to be vulnerable with themselves first and be vulnerable with the audience, that's giving them that nudge to be like, you know what, I am worthy. I do have a worthy place in this world with my story. And once they have that as a really strong foundation, and then they just blossom, they just boom, and it happens every single time.
Couldn't agree more. I love that answer. So true.
There you go. So people listening, this is now 3 people that are saying that the reason why you're not moving forward is confidence. So it must be right? It's not a coincidence. This is just the way the shit works. So this moment now, so you're kind of like, would you want to wrap it back to your story, man, and dive into that a little bit more before we finish up, because we're conscious of your time as well today, dude. So you kind of decide that you're going to be a fitness mentor, and that kind of happens over a year and a bit, and you've been helping people out, and eventually you decide that you're going all in, because you just do business mentor now, right? There's no online clients at all, right? So when you first started that out and you were kind of stepping into the shoes of a business mentor, and you built your confidence through these, you know, helping people out for free and things like that. Did you see other fitness business mentors that were getting like crazy results, like killer fucking results, and was almost put off the idea because you were comparing with them and like, oh, fuck, man, I'm not quite where they are yet? Because the reason I want to ask that question is that it's the same when a lot of online trainers come online with their fitness business. If they don't get great physical results for their clients and they can see that this guy's getting killer results, look at this person's collage, look at all the six-pack abs that this person's putting, getting these clients. Sometimes that can slow your wheels, right? Because you're comparing your results that you're getting for your clients with other people. So as a fitness business mentor, when you stepped into those shoes, you stepped into that identity, was there ever a moment where you were like, fuck, man, like these results are killer, mine aren't so much? So like, what did that feel like internally for you to go through that conflict and still battle it out to be where you are today?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. Honestly, one of the biggest things that I struggled with was it wasn't necessarily a lack of my confidence in getting someone results. Like I said, I was doing a good job with people just kind of on the side, helping them get to almost where I was. I didn't want to try and preach anything that was too far beyond me or something I haven't done yet. So I was confident in that. But looking at the industry as a whole and looking at some of the people who were doing it way before I was, and for me to have the at that time, I thought audacity to go after this as well and compare myself to these types of coaches who've been doing it for much longer and have way more clients than me. There was definitely so many thoughts of fear, of anxiety. What are people going to think? Even like my fitness clients, what are they going to think about me making this shift? Do people think like I'm just going after the money? Like, are people going to understand my message now that now I'm talking about like finances and getting clients and things, and it's completely different than more fitness and personal development, which is how I built my brand, how I built my personal brand. And it was a huge internal struggle, actually. Like I literally battled with it probably for like a month if this was really something I wanted to go all in on. But I firmly believed that there were so many people out there, especially now, and it continues to grow, that needed that help, that needed that guidance. And I did have the confidence in my message. I did have the confidence that my systems were going to help. And it was something that I was willing to put myself out there for. But don't get me wrong, it took me some time to build myself up mentally. That point to kind of overcome those limiting beliefs, to kind of overcome the cognitive dissonance that I had. Because at that point, I mean, sure, the fitness business was going good. Like it was like a multi-six-figure level, but I wasn't like making millions from it. So who am I to be business coaching now? And I haven't even got $1 million business yet. But it was fundamentally understanding that like there were so many people out there who needed that help, who needed kind of that next step. And I just felt strongly in my message enough to actually get past my own shit and help as many people as I could. So that was kind of like that transition moment for sure.
It's powerful, man. I'm glad you've brought that up in that way, because that's just a message for fit pros listening to this now. If you're looking at other people's results, like Will said, you've got to be confident in what you're doing, carry your message, go at it wholeheartedly, and keep fucking going. Just keep being consistent, showing up, helping as many people as you can at the ability that you can, keep developing, and it'll work, right?
Oh my God, for sure. I mean, like it goes with anything. Like if you're a fit pro and you're kind of scared to go online right now because there are so many other fit pros out there, and you're looking at like the top dogs and you're thinking like, oh, how can I ever compare? How can I ever compare? Well, I mean, look at any industry. I mean, there are giants in any industry. Like LeBron James didn't say, oh, you know, like I'm not going to play basketball because Michael Jordan set the bar so I'm just not even going to play. Like that's not how it works. Like, yes, like things work like this. And you have to have that self-belief. Going back to what you guys were saying, you have to have that confidence to get past that barrier, that block, that internal dissonance that you have with yourself, and go after what you want. Because just like you guys are saying, at the other side of that discomfort is where things are going to start to happen, is where you're going to start to get to where you want to go. And it's just so important to realize that and go after that and make that decision.
It's where it all happens, man. So I'm interested, mate. You've lived this journey. You've gone through this story. What have you learned about yourself from the fitness industry? What have you learned about yourself from the fitness industry?
Yeah, that's another amazing question. And I would say there's such a parallel with fitness and with business. And I love drawing these parallels all the time, because just how I started this conversation too, you don't truly know what you're made of unless you go through that adversity, unless you go through that discomfort. And it's the same with business. It's the same with fitness. And so many people go through their life like just kind of status quo, and so many people go through their life like, oh, this is the way things are, and this is my routine, and that's that. But there's literally this whole other side to life if you understand where your limit is and you go past it. And I can use fitness examples and I can use business examples, but it's the same principle. It's the same principle of finding that barrier and going past it, because past that barrier is where you can truly understand the new sights of what you can do, of what you can actually achieve, if it's in your business, if it's in your fitness, in your life, in your relationships, whatever it may be, and continually seek that. Like never get comfortable, never like just get satisfied, like continually seek that next step, because there is more that you can do. There is more that capable of, but you have to put yourself in that position in order to understand that, in order to fulfill that. And if you never put yourself in that position, which a lot of people don't, to be honest, a lot of people are comfortable, a lot of people are set in their ways, they never find out what they could be. They never find out what their life could be. So if there's one thing fitness taught me, and business in general taught me, it's understanding what I could become. It's understanding what my potential is. And honestly, man, that's the best gift anything could ever give me. So yeah, that's my answer there.
It's powerful, man. I love that. Fucking love that.
Well, yeah. I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Me and Matt, what we stand for, okay, is people being the hero of their story, right? And we stand against people staying as a victim of their story, living in that victim mentality. And especially in the industry, especially the fitness industry, we're standing for fitness professionals to lead with their story rather than just leading with every strategy under the sun, right? Because there's not enough of it. So when it comes to you, and it could be business or personal, what do you stand for or / stand against?
That's an amazing question. What I stand
We've got a habit of asking questions like this.
yeah, I love it. So what I stand against, man, is the easy way out. What I stand against is quick fixes, because honestly, nothing in life is worth achieving if there is an answer or there is a journey that's easy or that's quick. And I think there's a lot of marketing material in any industry that promotes that. And that's one of the biggest things that I try to go against in everything that I put out. And you guys are similar as well. And what I do stand for, which totally goes against the grain, which is what I just kind of hit on, is sticking with that journey through the resistance, sticking with that journey when you're facing that barrier, when you're facing that challenge. Because at the end of the day, just like my last spiel there, like that's when you're going to achieve that thing. That's when you're going to get to where you want to go. If it's in fitness, if it's in business, if it's in life. And for someone to, and like business owner to preach the hard work, to preach the resistance, like it goes so against the grain of everything else that's out there today, but it's the truth. And if you stand for the truth in the long term, you're going to win. In the long term, like you're going to help the most amount of people. And if the truth is at like the foundation of everything that you do as a fit pro, as a business owner, like whatever it may be, then you can feel good about yourself and you can feel good about your direction. So one of the biggest things that I try to stand for, and like even like in my content and things like that, is like, what's the truth of this statement? Even if some people don't want to hear it, or even if I'm going to turn some people away, like what's the truth that they need to hear right now, and then seek that and then communicate that. So that's one of the biggest things I try to always be cognizant of, for sure.
I fucking love that, man. I absolutely love that. And again, I wrote a piece of content just literally about that as well the other day. Was just saying about how truth evokes change, you know, either in yourself or in others. When you are truthful and you say it how it is, to what you think how it is, because that's what's important. It's what you believe is your truth to put out into the world. That's what will form your message and what will form substance, right? Is your truth. Sometimes people don't want to hear that. Sometimes people will get turned away. Sometimes you'll turn away a bunch of people, but you know what? You'll open up the doors for a bunch of other people that do want to be receptive to the truth right now. So I just think it's fucking, what a powerful way to go out, man. Love that. So this has been an absolutely rocket episode, mate. I cannot wait to drop this out. I really cannot. But before we go, there's actually a question I want to ask you around your inspiration. Like, and I said this before, I say it over and over again. I'm super inspired by Bedrose Keuilian. Like, you obviously know that guy, right? It's dominating. What a fucking gangster. Like, we need to get him on here at some point. What a guy. Which I will be making some contact with him soon, and Craig Ballantyne. So watch out, guys. We got you, Fit Body Bootcamp. Let's get it. So I'm super inspired by that guy's journey, just because he's just been through so much shit. Like, if you've listened to his story, read his story, you know, like, he had nothing, not a shred of anything when he was younger. You know, to the degree where his mum would like wash his hair with lice with petroleum. Like, it just, that's poverty. And, you know, that is, and people can argue that all they want and say that there's different poverty lines, but even I think that my life, to a degree, at certain points, has been full of poverty, right? Whether that's a poverty mindset or my physical being and where I am, my environment. But I'm just so inspired by that guy, by what he's doing and what he's putting out into the industry. And it makes me wonder, who are you inspired by in the fitness industry? Like, who are you really just look at and go, fuck, man, this guy's killing it. Super inspired by this person.
Yeah, that's a great question, man. Bedros is definitely up there. Craig's definitely up there. Those are definitely some titans of the industry. But if I'm being honest with you guys, I look into different sectors. I look into like Jeff Bezos in Amazon. I look into like, even back in time, Rockefeller, Napoleon Hill. Like, I look into different sectors like that and kind of see what parallels they have gone through in different sectors, and apply that within fitness, apply that within business coaching, and really kind of identify what those silver linings are that are conducive to almost any sector, and something that everybody needs to keep in mind, something that is very applicable to almost any business. That's kind of the track that I've been on lately, is understanding and looking at people who are just doing things so differently, who are just so going against the grain. And everybody thought they were crazy at first, but then, like, they completely changed the industry, and they completely changed things. And like Elon Musk and people like that, those are people I look to and think, and want to understand what that journey was, just like you guys are doing with this whole movement. Understand their story, understand what made them tick. I look at, like, people who have just completely turned the industry on their head and get inspiration from that. So that's those are the types of people who I go to for inspiration and kind of next steps that way, for sure.
If you had to pick one out of those, if you had to pick one guy or girl at the moment who's really sort of guiding you through your current position, who would you say it is?
So for right now, and this is just recency bias, because I've been doing a ton of like research on him like over the past 6 months, but it would be Jeff Bezos. And the reason why is because obviously he's at the peak right now, and it's easy for me to say, but when you know his story and you know how he literally ate shit for 25 years and took a financial loss on the business of Amazon for 25 years in order to get it to the point where it is today, where they're completely on top. He's one of, I think, if not the richest guys in the world. And understanding that fucking journey that he went through. Did he go with the quick fix? No, he ate shit for 25 years in order to get to where it is today. And everybody called him crazy. Everybody said his business model was never going to get anywhere. And look at him now. Look at him now. And it's shit like that inspires me, just like how Bedros inspires you, Matt. People who came from nothing and people who like just really go through the shit but stick with it, because it's so rare in humanity right now. It's so rare. Just going back to my point before, everybody seeks that instant gratification. Everybody seeks that perfect next step, that result that takes no effort. And the people who actually make it, like the titans in any industry, not just fitness, they're the ones who have gone through the shit. They're the ones who have who have stepped out as a leader and have gone through probably the most adversity in order to get to where they want to go. And that's inspiring. So that's my answer for that, for sure.
Matt, your mic's on mute. Oh, he's gone.
Oh,
is he gone? He's gone. His phone probably turned off. Oh, well. Well, yeah, dude, I just want to say thank you a huge amount for coming on. I think you dropped a lot of value, and thank you for being open and vulnerable and sharing your story on this episode, dude.
Yeah, man. It's my absolute pleasure. I appreciate you guys having me on. This has been so much fun.
Yeah, no worries. And I think quickly before we go is what's the next step for you? What's your vision, the trajectory of where you want to go moving forward? What does that look like?
Yeah, that's an amazing question, man. So we want to grow New Age Coach. At this point in time, we want to bring on as much staff as possible in order to support the current clients that we have. I think that there are so many group coaching programs out there. There are so many different options out there that there's mass that aren't necessarily getting the clients that they need at that point in time, the results that they need at that point in time. And I'm starting to notice a trend that people need almost specific accountability to them. And that's kind of the trend that I've been seeing lately. So in terms of next steps and with New Age Coach, we want to start developing a more advanced, a more individualized coaching program where we can be with someone every step of the way and they have that support, because I think that that's massively lacking right now. And that's definitely a gap that we want to fill. So we're kind of in the middle ground right now of developing systems, developing a team to kind of fill that gap. So that's kind of next steps.
And I can't wait. That's going to be absolutely fire.
For sure. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys about it later, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. Bro, this has been an absolutely lit episode. Like, mate, we're so honored to have had you on and to take some of your time today to deliver this value. And it literally is our mission. It's our absolute fucking mission to get every fit pro in the world to lead with their story, right? Because it amplifies your personal brand and takes you to new places. And this part of this Your Fit Story TV is to be able to give people these valuable insights, to be able to give our audience and your audience and any fit pro out there that's at any stage of their journey, valuable insights into how you have managed to do this. Because going back to what you said a second ago around like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, like people tend to take people at face value. Like it's so easy, especially today with social media where your highlights is your life, right? There's very few people that are being vulnerable and opening up on social media. It's all highlighted. And in a day and age now where it's so easy to do that, to be the person who kind of has walked this path and now has this story to share, that is what gives the connective tissue for others to follow, right? So like I've said before, your story, and this is actually Perry saying it, I fucking love it, and I wish I'd stolen it from him sooner, but it's your story is the connective tissue for people to follow to get the same results as you have. And that's what our mission is with Your Fit Story TV. So, dude, thank you so much. I mean, guys, if you have benefited from this episode, if you have found value here, we don't ask for anything. We don't fucking put a bunch of ads at you or anything like that, right? We literally just want to grow this movement organically. So if you have found value and you have enjoyed Will's story, I know I have, this has been lit, then just drop us just subscribe and drop a comment to keep this going. Tell one person about us. That's it.
I love it.
So, dude, thank you so much for being on, man.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. This has been awesome.
Cheers.
Definitely. We'll catch up very soon down the line, because what you said to Perry about your vision, we're gonna be on your tail, man. We're gonna be on your tail. And the good thing about Your Fit Story is that it's ever evolving. So in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months down the line, dude, we'd love to have you back on for a second episode, man.
Yeah, amazing. I would love to, guys. Thank you so much. This has been awesome.
Cool.
Amazing.
No worries. Thank you very much.
Epic. Enjoy your weekend. Goodbye.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.